Hey y'all, test tomorrow. Okay, so number 1 through 4, let's get started. Find the function equation that represents each set of linear data below. So guys, calculator problems. Stat enter, let's go ahead and enter our data, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5's all the way down, so I'll do stat, right, and this is linear. It told us it was linear. Enter, 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 enter. So it tells me y equals ax plus b, where a is 0 and b is 5. So remember, let me fix this. Y equals 0x plus 5, which in the end is just y equals 5. Okay. Next one, stat enter. I'm going to clear these. So 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Oh, I did not even type that right. Okay, negative 8, negative 4, 0, 4, 8. Second, oh, not second, sorry. Stat right 4, enter, 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 enter. So this is y equals ax plus b, where a is 2, x minus 8, or plus negative 8. Either of those will work. Okay, so number 3. Negative 2, negative 1, 0, 3, 4. What am I doing? Sorry, guys. Negative 2, negative 1, 0, 3, 4, 5. Negative 3.5, negative 1.5, 0.5, 6.5. Okay, stat right. This is linear 4. Enter, 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 enter. Y equals 2x plus 0.5, or just 0.5, either way. One more. Okay, 2, 6, 10, 12, 16, negative 5, negative 13, negative 21, negative 25, negative 33. Stat right 4, enter, 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 enter. So y equals negative 2x minus 1. Okay, so that's 1 through 4. They're quick, easy, and they're in the calculator. So let's look at 5 through 8. These are probably one of the hardest on the test. Okay, so it tells me determine if the data shown below can be represented by linear, quadratic, cubic, or exponential. If the function is linear, quadratic, or cubic or exponential, define your equation. And then if it's cubic, if you notice, I put equations at the bottom because cubic is kind of weird when it comes to the calculator. So you're just going to use those. So one thing I want you to realize is that the ones that grow really fast are either exponential or cubic. So we know this is exponential or cubic. Exponential or cubic. Therefore, the ones that don't grow as fast are linear or quadratic. Linear or quadratic. So that's what we're going to focus on each one to help us. So looking here, how do I get from 8 to 17? Well, remember, guys, we can use our calculator. 17 minus 8 is plus 9, or positive 9. Okay, 32 minus 17. Remember, you take the second one minus the first one, and it tells you. So right away, we know this is not linear. Okay, because this should be the same thing if it's linear. 53 minus 32, 21. Okay, 80 minus 53. So I'm going to actually stop after this one because I have enough to find my second difference. So that's my first difference. It doesn't match, so we know this is not linear. So right away we should know it's quadratic, but we're going to prove it. 15 minus 9 is 6, so this is plus 6. 21 minus 15 is also plus 6, so do we see that our second difference is matching? 27 minus 21 is 6. So our second difference matches. Therefore, we know this is quadratic. And we're going to use our calculator to find the equation. Stat enter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 17, 32, 53, 80, 113, 152. Stat right 5, because it's quadratic. And my equation is y equals 3x squared plus 0x, so I don't have to put it, plus 5. Okay. Now the second one we know is either cubic or exponential? Guys, the easier one to check for is exponential. So remember, exponential is the only one that you're multiplying instead of adding. So we can think about it. 2 times 4 gives me 8. 8 times 4, does that give me 32? It does. 32 times 4 gives me 128. So right away we notice this is multiplying by 4 each time. So right away we know this is exponential. Okay, so again we can use stat to find our equation. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 8, 32, 128, 5, 12, 20, 48. Stat right. Now we're looking for expreg. So for exponential, and it is 2 times 4 to the x power. Don't forget our y equals. Okay. Now we're back to linear or quadratic. So on this one, we are going to figure out what we're adding by each time. So again, 18 minus 13 is plus 5. 23 minus 18 is plus 5. 23 plus 5 is 28. 28 plus 5 is 33. So we notice right away that they are all the same. So our first difference is the same, which means it's linear. So we can use this to come up with our equation. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, not 78, 7, 8, 13, 18, 23, 28, 33, 38, 43. Stat right 4, because this is linear. Enter, 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 enter. Whoa, I typed something wrong. Let's double check. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 43, 38, 33, 28, 23, 18, up, see, 13. Okay, so see, that was my mistake. Stat right 4. Watch how much better it looks now. Yes, y equals 5x plus 3. Last one, we should know it's cubic because we've used all of our other options. If you really struggle with finding second difference or all that other stuff, guys, could you type these in your calculator and see which one has a match with the table? So we have 2x to the third power minus 5, second graph. I can look at my table. This doesn't match any of my tables at all, so we know this equation is not going to help us. Okay, so let's try the next one. 3x cubed minus 5, so second graph. This also doesn't match any of my tables, so I know that this is not my answer. Looking at the last one, 5x to the third power plus 3, second graph. Right away, I see that it does match my last one, so this is cubic. And it is 5x to the third power plus 3. Guys, I can prove to you that it's cubic. So again, using my calculator, second quit. 138 minus 43 is plus 95. Right, really small, so we have enough room for this. 323 minus 138 is 185. 628 minus 323 is 305. 1083 minus 628 is 455. So we notice right away the first difference is not the same. So now we go back. 185 minus 95. This is plus 90. 305 minus 185 plus 120. 455 minus 305. It's 150. So what I want you to realize is now, I know I'm about to write on my table, this is plus 30. Plus 30. So right away my third difference is matching. Okay. Okay. Let's keep going. So looking here, it says a male's heart rate depends on his age. The table shows the heart rate R for n years. What is the dependent variable? Remember, if you have your ID to go to the doctor, independent, dependent, so it's my Y. And then domain range. Domain goes with X, range goes with Y. So it says write an equation. So first off, I don't know what kind of data this is. And it doesn't tell me what kind of data it is. I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator. Second plus 712. Stat enter 5, 10, 20, 30, 60, 209, 204, 194, 184, 154. And I'm going to do stat right. I'm actually going to go to quadratic and press a bunch. So one thing I want to show you is that you can always use quadratic first. See how a is 0? That's telling me that there's no x squared and that it's actually linear. So my equation, which I always want you to double check just in case, is y equals negative 1x plus 214. So let's type that in our calculator. Negative 1x plus 214. And check our table. So at 5, 209, which matches. 10, 204, which matches. 15 isn't there. 20 is. 194, which matches. So right away I know that this is my correct equation. So what would you expect their height rate to be for a male of 45 years old? So years is X for us, or in here. So I'm going to scroll all the way down to where X is 45. So it's going to be 169 is going to be our rate. Okay, so then it tells me how old would you expect somebody to be with their heart rate is 79, which is my Y. So I'm looking at 179 for my Y, which is 35 years. Okay. So that is that equation, or problems. So now let's look at number 13 through 15. Okay, so it says the table shows the distance traveled by a car as it's accelerating. So it's 0 time, it hasn't accelerated at all. So it says what is the independent? So again, we talked about independent being our x. Remember, these tables, x is on top, y is on bottom. So x is our time in seconds. If you just put time, that's fine. So it says which of the following equations best represents the situation? So again, I'm going to do what I did last time. Stat enter 0, 2, 5, 6, 0, 18, 1, 12.5, 162. I'm going to do stat right, and I'm going to do quadratic. So it gives me 4.5 x squared. So I'm going to try that. 4.5 x squared, second graph. And I'm going to double check. So 0, 0, 218, 5, 112.5, 6, 162. So this is my equation. Now, another thing you could have done is just looked at your answer choices and typed them in your calculator. X squared, second graph, and seen like 2 and 18, that didn't work. So that didn't match. Okay, so that's another thing you could have done. Now, it says, why does the ordered pair negative 2, 18 not make sense for this situation? Well, think about it. It says x is time, so this is saying at negative 2 seconds, he went a distance of 18 feet. At negative 2 seconds, could he have gone anywhere? No, so there's no negative time. Okay? Alright, this one's confused a lot of people. So it says Carly has a $60 gift card for her favorite tea shop. Every time she visits the tea shop, she gets the same drink for $3.50. Complete the table representing the amount she'll have remaining on her card after purchasing in drinks. So before she purchases anything, she still has 60. Now, she's buying drinks for $3.50. So $56.50. So again, 56.50 minus 3.50, 53 minus 3.50, 49.50 minus 3.50, 46 minus 3.50, 42.50. Okay, what I want you to realize is we just subtracted the same thing over and over and over again, which right away tells us this is linear. So if you struggle with coming up with equations, you could use stat again. I'm just going to use my table because we've learned how to do this. Y equals, well, what did I do over and over and over again? What am I doing each time? I was subtracting 350. So that's my slope. And I started at 60. So there's my equation. Guys, again, you could have used stat. Okay, so it says, which of the following would be the domain of the function, which means looking at the equation and the graph, what would your domain be? So let's type this in. Negative 3.50x plus 60. Okay, I'm actually going to go to my graph. I don't see it because it's up high, so I'm going to zoom out. So looking at this graph, is it ever going to quit getting wider? Forever and ever and ever, it is going to keep getting wider, because right now we're just looking at the graph. We're not even thinking about the, so again, I could zoom out again, and you see it just keeps getting wider and wider. So that means that my domain is x, so right away we can cross off these two, is a. It's all real numbers, okay? Because technically when I'm looking at the graph, it doesn't matter. It can be negative, okay? Now, what would the appropriate domain for the situation? So now it wants me to include the story. So it said, first off, is this continuous or discrete? So remember, continuous is something you measure, discrete is something you count. So we count money, okay? This is definitely discrete. And so remember, when it's discrete, it's going to be a list. Whenever it's continuous, you use your inequalities. Okay, so I can have $0, or 0 drinks. I can buy 1 drink. I can buy 2 drinks. I can buy 3 drinks. I can buy 4 drinks. Now, I can't go on forever. I only have $60 on my card. So if you come here, you can scroll down. Now, I can have 50 cents on my card, but I cannot have negative $3 on a gift card. It won't let that happen. So I can only purchase 17 of my favorite drinks. So that's my end point. Okay? So that's that problem. Let's look down now at 19 and 20. So the cool thing about this one is it gives us the graph, but it also gives us the equation. Always pay attention to what it gives you. So we're going to type that in. 30x minus 5x to the second power, sorry. And we're going to fill in our table. Whoop. So 0 is 0, 1 is 25, 40, 45, 20, oh, 40, sorry, 25, and then our 6 is actually our 0. So first off, just looking at the graph, I would say this is continuous. But let's read what it's actually talking about. The height of a football after it is kicked. First off, height is something you measure. We just kind of had that conversation. So this is definitely continuous. Okay, so our appropriate domain and range. Well, domain is your width of your graph, your side to side. This goes from 0 to 6. So 0 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 6. Now remember, we can also write it in interval notation, which cough cough may be how it's on the test. So remember, that's just 0 to 6 with the square brackets. Okay, our range is our height. So our lowest point is 0, and our highest point is 45. So 0 is less than or equal to y is less than or equal to 45. So again, we can write it the fancy way, y to 45, interval notation. Okay, so that is the answers for 19 and 20. Let's keep on keeping on. Last page. I know that some of y'all are getting really confused with these, and some of y'all are doing awesome. Everybody can do awesome, so let's talk about them. This is G, and this one's G. So I'm going to do those first. So I'm going to type the G of x equation in my calculator, negative 3x plus 1, second graph. So this is telling me, remember, when it's in the parentheses, that's telling me x equals 10. So that means I'm looking for y. So I'm going to go to where x is 10 in my calculator, and my y is negative 29. So this equals negative 29. Okay, now this is telling me to find x, so therefore it's giving me y. So I'm going to look in the y column for positive 16. So there's positive 16, so my answer is negative 5. X is negative 5. So I'm going to change up my color per equation. So this is my f of x equation, so that's going to be this one and this one. Sorry, so you can see both. So we're going to type that equation in. X squared plus 7 second graph. So this is telling me that x equals 3, so I'm going to go to x equals 3, and that equals 16. Now this is telling me to find x when y is 23. So I'm going to find where y is 23, and it's right here at 4. But guys, I want you to be careful, because remember, this is a U shape, and see, numbers, they happen multiple times. So it's also x equals -4. Okay, we talked about that, being careful with quadratics, because they can happen multiple times. Okay, now let's do the h of x equation. So that's just this one and this one. So we're going to come here, clear. Remember, alpha y equals, enter, gives me a fraction, 12 over x, second graph. This is telling me that x equals -2. Okay, so x is -2 at -6. Now this is telling me to find x when y is -2. So it's the opposite. So now I'm looking in this column. So -2 happens right here, which is when x equals -6. So we can always look around for another one. So these aren't getting any closer. So this only happens once, okay? Last one. J, okay, 2x plus 9 is only one problem. So 2x plus 9, second graph. I'm looking for where x is 7. So x is 7 right here, and y is 23. Okay, so that's those. Last one, some of y'all are getting a little messed up with these as well. The graphs kind of throw y'all off. So same concept. X is -4. So I'm finding y. So remember, x is my side to side. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where x is -4. I'm finding my height, because remember, y is your height. X is kind of like your width. It's how far side to side you go. So at this height is up 2. So this equals 2. Here gives me x equals 0. X equals 0 here, and it's a height of 0 also. So this is just 0, 0. Now it tells me where y equals 2. So y equals 2 here. Okay, y is your height, so now I need to find my x, which is my width. So I have a not pretty number. Go ahead and you can estimate. It's not a big deal. So we'll say, what, 0.75, 0.75, or 0.7, or any, I mean, if you estimated, that's fine. On your test, I promise it's pretty numbers, or it's multiple choice. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's negative 0.75 and -4. Okay, because both of those points are at a height of 2. Okay, last one, and then we're done. So this is telling me y equals 0, so I'm finding x. So height of 0 happens twice, okay? Happens right here at 0, and it also happens again at -5. Those 2 points are at a height of 0, okay? That is your test, guys. If you have any questions from other than what I've covered just now, or detailed questions, or you didn't understand, bring them to me tomorrow at the beginning of class, and I will cover them with you before your test. Y'all are all going to do great.